Welcome everyone to the live training for the new Colson 2 Integrated Total Lock. My name is Alina Gumko. I'm a Marketing Operations Specialist at Colson, and joining me today is Dennis Jones, our Chief Commercial Officer. We're super excited to share with you some of the new improvements we've made to the Colson 2 series, including the new product, the Integrated Total Lock, as well as some overall improvements to the series as a whole, and at the end, some exciting new products that are coming up in the pipeline. So Dennis, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks, Alina. Yeah, it's really exciting for Colson. We're here in our headquarters in St. Joe, Michigan. This is our third live broadcast that we've put out introducing our new products. And today, in a few minutes, I'll turn this over to our product expert in the field. But this is really a product that we've been developing for the last year or so, trying to optimize it to be the best in market. Tying to that, a number of additional improvements we've made to the product that you'll hear about in a few minutes. I think it's really a nice move for Colson. You'll see all new catalog pages coming out with it, new literature, and it will also add in all of the additions we've made to the Colson 2 series that maybe haven't been published in the past and made readily available in our assets. So look forward to a great training session, and at this point I will turn it over to our product manager for our light duty, Daryl Metzger. Daryl?
Thank you, Dennis. Now Daryl's going to share with us some more specific information about the improvements we've made to the Colson 2 series, as well as some specific information about the new Integrated Total Lock. So Daryl, thank you for joining me.
Yeah, no problem.
So let's talk about the biggest thing, obviously, the new Integrated Total Lock, which is our newest product in the Colson 2 line, as well as our main focus for today's launch. Tell me a little bit about the product. What was the market need that we saw to develop this product? What are the new features? Just walk us through the whole thing.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, so with the new 2 series integrated total lock, one of the key issues that we had found was that the 2 series in general was just missing an integrated total lock brake. We had the bolt-on brake, we didn't have the integrated brake. So we really took a step back and said, okay, if we're going to design a brake, how are we going to do it? And so everything was really designed with intention. So by doing it by intention, what I mean is, every single detail of it, every slant, every curve, every material was really chosen carefully. So first thing was starting with the brake lever itself. The brake lever itself, we decided to go with zinc die cast. There are other ways to do it. We can do plastic, stamped steel, but we decided zinc die cast was the best because that gives us the highest strength, the most durability, and perception of strength, right? The other thing it does is it makes it very available to use in high temperature applications. So where the BR Brake 5, that one's with a plastic brake, and other people's the plastic brakes, they just are not good in those high temp applications. So die cast lever is the first thing. The other thing I just want to mention too is that with this, it still has the 450 pound load rating when used with the CG Max wheel, so which is what I have in my hand, one of the CG Max wheels. So another part of the design was we really took into account the shape. So in the shape of it, we gave this duckbill kind of shape to it. So first of all, we added a little arc. If you look closely at the fork itself, there's a little arc in it that blends downward to the lever. And then the lever has the little duckbill up. So what that does is that allows us to give more clearance between the mounting surface and the pedal, the actual interaction point with the pedal, so we can activate it and deactivate it very easily, no matter where it's mounted. And so that was really one of the key design features that we gave it. Another key feature was the width of the lever itself. The lever, we made it a wider width at the tip, so again, more surface area so you can get your foot on it easier. We also rounded the end of it. So we rounded the end of it so we could reduce the swivel radius while still giving as much surface area to contact as possible. Again, stepping back and thinking about the entire 2 series design, we said, well, as long as we're doing this, what else can we do better? How else can we make our entire 2 series product better as a result of what we're doing with integrating this brake? So one of the key things we saw was the raceway itself. The 2 series upper raceway had a pretty big gap between the raceway and the top of the fork. So that allowed a lot of dust to get in and things like that. And we said, well, this is a good time to redesign that. So we went ahead and redesigned the dust I'm going to call it a dust cover. It's a top raceway, but it's now, because we've redesigned it, it actually doubles as a dust cover. There's almost very little clearance between the fork and the raceway itself. So it really becomes kind of an integrated dust cover. The other thing we did as well is we tightened up the raceway. So the interior of the caster itself, we redesigned the entire interior so it's a tighter raceway than what it used to be. So these features are, even though we're introducing it now with the integrated total lock, it's actually going to bleed through the entire 2 Series product line. So as part of this launch, the other thing we're doing is you might wonder, how big of a launch is this? Well, we're launching it with 3 of the main mounting fastenings that we have in the 2 Series. So the standard plate, right, the one most everybody wants, the highest selling product, the 1/2 inch 13 by 1.5 inch long threaded stem, and then the hollow kingpin. So those are 3 fastening options that we're coming with out of the gate. There's also a 4th option we're going to talk about in a few minutes, an additional plate that we're adding. So that is coming, that we'll talk here in a minute. Mm-hmm. So these plates, or these different mounting fastening options are in stock now. We also have more stock coming in, so this is not a soft launch. This is a full launch of these fastenings and the 4 and the 5 inch sizes only at this point.
Well, that was a lot of information, obviously, but a lot of exciting and new innovations in this series as a whole, but also this product. And I know that I have a lot of questions, obviously, so I just want to remind everyone on the call, if you have any questions as we go throughout, please submit them into the Q&A, and then at the end of the call, we'll review all the questions and answer those at the end. My first question is, so we've redesigned this whole new product. It's brand new, it's exciting. How do we order it? How does a customer order this new product?
Okay, yeah, no, great question. Again, one of the things we thought about as we were designing this is exactly that. How are they going to order it? And where do we put it? How do we make this easy for the customers to order? Mm-hmm. And in our research and just kind of trying to figure out what the best way was to do this, we decided the best way to do it was to put a T in the front of the part number. So all you have to do, take the standard swivel caster that you're already familiar with, that you're already ordering, and if you want the integrated total lock, just add a T to the front. That's it. It's as simple as that. And you can get the integrated total lock. So very simple, very easy. Same with the rigs. If you want the rig only, the rig is going to be the same way. It's going to be a T and then the rig number. So very easy to order.
Great. And
then did the same thing with our new plate. So, which again, we'll talk about in a minute. I'm sorry, the rigids. We added the rigids. So we added new formed rigids. So the formed rigids are from 2.5 up to 5 inch sizes. And these new formed rigids are going to have an 06 as the fastening. So these are in stock now. So again, the old rigid was the 08 plate. These are the 06. So it's very easy because the 56 plate is the standard swivel. So the 06 is going to be the standard rigid. You can still get the 08s, no change there. This is just an addition to the product line. So one of the key things on this is that, we made these with, less material, so we can get a little bit lower cost in those really tight competitive situations. But also they're a little bit lighter weight, so a little bit easier to transport, easier to lift. And the other thing was they don't have the wraparound plate at the top, so it's easier to access the mounting bolts than it is on the existing 08 plates. So we tried to solve several different issues on these rigids when we launched these as well.
Well, great. I mean, we've made a lot of improvements to this series as a whole, and I think that everyone's really excited to kind of dive deeper and dig into all of these changes. Something new that I know we also did was develop a new plate pattern. And you mentioned that earlier, so let's talk about that.
Yeah, no problem. Been very excited to talk about this plate. So this plate is a brand new plate, and it's a combination plate. So the number of this plate is going to be the 52 plate. So the rigid would be an 02. So we are launching the rigid and the total lock and the swivels. All 3 are available with this plate. But this plate, what it is, it's designed so it takes the standard current US plate, which would be on the 2 Series would be the 56 plate, right? The one everybody uses, and it combines it with the European metric bolt hole patterns. So it gives it this kind of heart-shaped bolt holes. So you can use these. You can stock one rig, one plate mount rig, and you can cover the US standard mounting configuration as well as the metric international mounting pattern and service all industries. The other thing we've done is on the rest of our plate casters, we've also changed the way we're coating those in our system. So what you would have ordered in the past, you would have ordered 202, 256, as you see on your screen right now at the top. You would have ordered something like that with MTG 27 in this example. It could be MTG 35, whatever. So what we've done though is we've taken that MTG part of it, and this is plates only, and now you can put that MTG 27 and just replace the 27 in the place of where the 56 is in the part number, and that will give you your plate caster. Same thing with a rig. You can order the rig that way. Now rigs have been actually that way for some time, so we really kind of combine them so they're both ordered the same way. So again, trying to make this easier for you guys, our customers, to order our products. So this might be a good time to go and talk about the sample kits that are coming out.
That would be great.
That. So we are going to be shipping out sample kits to you guys here in the next couple of weeks. So just like we did on some other launches, right? So the sample kit, you can see behind me, it's going to look like this. It's going to be a box. I can't get my finger right. There's going to be a box with two casters in it. The two casters are going to be a 4-inch and a 5-inch integrated total lock. One of them is going to have the upcoming heat wave wheel in the rig, and the other one is going to have the standard Performa top selling wheel in the industry in that box. We're also going to include the new literature as well. So this is a new brochure specifically for the 2 Series, 12 pages of information about 2 Series. So that will be included in the box as well. That's going to go out to the distributors. So that'll be coming your way in the next couple of weeks.
And speaking about the sample kits, which serve both as like an introduction to this new product with the integrated total lock, but also a sneak peek of some upcoming products, for example, the 1.25" Hydrotech wheels. Let's talk about what some of those new exciting products that we have coming up in the 2 Series are. Okay,
yeah, sure. Absolutely. So, one of the first things that's coming up is we're adding some wheels. So 3 of the wheels are wheels we've already had and for a little while, but maybe didn't make them as well known to as we should have. But that's the 9P8, 4P8, and 5P8 wheels. Those wheels are in stock and available. They are single precision bearing wheels, and they do have thread guards. One of them has the small thread guards, the other 2 have full thread guards. So those are in stock and available now. So you can order those at any time. We also added now to the 2 Series the 6-inch Nomadic and pneumatic wheels. Now some of you will recognize these as they were part of the old Shepherd Institutional series. Unfortunately, when that series was kind of wound down, these wheels kind of became lost in the shuffle. These are 6-inch diameter only, and now they are available on the 2 Series. We don't have the part number set up quite yet, but you will see them within your price lookup tool and online very soon, within the next couple of weeks. So it's all just kind of going through right now. So we can quote it right now though. So if you need those are available now in the 2 Series. I already mentioned this, but I'm going to mention it again, the Hydrotech wheel. So we are adding the Hydrotech wheel as well to the 2 Series. So Hydrotech wheel will be launched in August. We are currently building up our stock levels to be able to have a full launch on this series. These wheels are going to be made in Monette, made in USA, and it's going to be the 3, 3.5, 4, 5, and 6-inch. They're all going to have precision bearings. They're all going to have the small thread guards, and these will be launched again in August. So keep your eyes open for these soon to come. And if you need them now, we can quote these now as well. We just don't have the stock yet. And then additional offering is going to be metric stems. We're also adding metric stems to the 2 Series. So in this offering, we're going to be adding an M10 threaded stem and 2 M12 threaded stems. So again, not available yet. If you need us to quote, we can quote it now. We don't have the inventory quite yet. But this will be coming probably third quarter of this year, so coming soon. So I mentioned that on the integrated total lock, we're doing this 4 and 5-inch only right now. That's what we're launching today, and with 4 mounting options. But I want to make sure you all know we are going to have the integrated brake with every mounting option that you can currently get on the 2 Series. So these will be added in the months ahead, so just bear with us while we get all the part numbers set up and get everything in order on this. But this is coming soon, that the entire offering, mounting options for the 2 Series are coming soon. You will be able to get the integrated brake with any mounting option you want. And then we are also going to be adding a brake to our rigid casters. So this is going to be 3, 3.5, 4, and 5 inch, and there'll be a brake lever designed specifically to work with our rigid forks. So these will be coming soon. Again, we can do some of these now, but again, it's very limited right now what we're able to do. But probably 3rd quarter, maybe early 4th quarter this year is when we'll have this fully ready for launch. So it's all been developed and through testing, and we're just getting the inventory in so we can make sure we can do a full launch before we actually launch this product. But this is coming soon as well. If you do need them now though, inquire and we may be able to fill your request today. And then we're also not stopping with the 4 and the 5 inch. As I said, this is the launch for the 4 and the 5, but we are adding a 3, a 3.5, and a 6 inch integrated total lock as well. So the 3, 3.5, and 6 inch are in development right now, being tooled. We've been doing a lot of tooling already and testing and development, but it's getting close. I can't give you an exact timeline on it, but just know that it is coming. We have to do it right, so we have to make sure we go through all the protocols and all the processes to get it fully launched, but this is coming down the pipeline. And then finally, we also have added USA-made 3-inch wheels. This has always been an area that we've kind of struggled with on the 2 Series because a lot of our wheels on the 2 Series are made in USA, but the 3-inch were not. Our 3-inch were always sourced usually from China. So it was hard for us to respond to large inquiries because we wouldn't quite have the right product available. Well, now by making this in the USA in our Monette facility, we are going to be able to service the entire 3-inch product segment fully from USA-made wheels. So this is going to be polyolefin wheels, Performa wheels, urethane wheels, everything, the full lineup. So we will start sending out literature on this very soon. So actually, even as early as tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to be introducing the very first one, which is the polyolefin wheel. So starting with the basic, but it's going to be the full lineup of 3-inch wheels that's coming out. We're also going to be adding a couple new standard wheels, and this is going to be for all sizes. So first one is going to be called the J78 wheel. The J78 wheel is going to be a TPR wheel that's going to be added to the 2 Series. So we realize that Performa is a phenomenal wheel, but sometimes people just want something a little bit lower cost that we can't quite get there on the Performa. So we are introducing this J78 wheel as that low cost option, but it's also still going to be precision bearing with thread guards. So it's going to be a very good wheel, but it's not going to be Performa material. So that's going to be coming out soon. And then we're also going to introduce a JA8 wheel, which our JA8 wheel, these are the codes that you would use in the part description. I think hopefully you caught on to that, but maybe not. So the JA8 wheel is going to be a urethane, again with precision bearing and the small partial thread guards. So it's going to be the full lineup of those as well. So those are coming soon as well. So that kind of wraps it up, I think, for the newer products we have coming out soon.
Yeah, I know I'm left with a lot of questions, and I believe that we're nearing the end of our call. So at this point, we're going to transition over into the Q&A and kind of review some of these questions that we've come up with throughout the call, and then hopefully answer all your questions. So let's start with the first question, which is, will the integrated total lock be available in a stainless steel option?
So good question. So the plan is yes. We have not started development on it yet, but we are going to develop it once we finish up the development of the standard 2 Series. The integrated total lock will be a stainless version though down the road. So just give us time on it. We want to make sure, again, we do it right. We want to launch these right, and then the work on the stainless steel work begins.
So the next question is, why put the T in front of the part number instead of the traditional system, which was adding a BRK code at the end?
Okay. Yeah, sure. The reason for that was, number one, we wanted to make this easy for customers to use. And so putting a T at the beginning we felt was a little bit easier than putting, you know, a new BRK, whatever code at the end. That was part of the reason. But the other part of the reason is that, you know, BRK 5, the BRK 1, those are bolt-on external pieces to the 2 series. So with those, you have to order them separately. In this case, you needed to be able to order the rig as a whole. So in order to order the rig as a whole, we had to put the T at the front, because otherwise it would have really made it really strange to order rigs. But so the rigs you can order the same way. It's just a T, you know, 20456 to get the total lock swivel integrated brake.
Speaking of rigs, the next question is about rigid rigs and asks, are new rigid rigs 1-piece or 2-piece rigs?
Okay, yeah, the new rigs are still 1-piece stamped formed rigs. We were able to do that because they're the smaller plates. We don't have to go to a 2-piece until we get to a larger plates, but these are a single stamped type of a rig. And again, that's also try to keep costs down. Once we go to a 2-piece rig, then the cost ends up, you know, getting a little more expensive because we have to weld pieces together and things like that. So, but these are a 1-piece rig.
Okay, I have my own personal question, which I'm going to ask, but what is the difference between a 1-piece rig and a 2-piece rig? Okay,
yeah, sure. So when people ask about a 1-piece or a 2-piece rig,
yeah.
There's also 3-piece rigs, but a 1-piece rig would be just it's the legs and then the top plate all formed as one whole. And then a 2-piece rig is usually like a U bracket, which is basically the legs of the rig. Those would be welded then to a top plate. So the top plate is 1 piece and the legs are the other piece. And then the 3-piece, which you typically see in 2-inch wide casters, that's usually a top plate and then a left leg and a right leg all welded together. So that's a 3-piece welded rig.
I have seen all of those before. I just didn't know that there was a term for that.
Yep.
So that's good to know.
No problem.
The next question asks, what does this integrated total lock mean for the BRK5? And I know that we talked about the BRK5, that we have one, but is that going away? Is that staying?
Yeah, no, that's a phenomenal question, and the answer is nothing is going to change with the BRK5. The BRK5 is a great brake. A lot of you use it. I know distributors love it because you're able to stock swivel rigs and then put the brake on top of it yourself. That is still going to be available. No plan to do anything different with the BRK5. We're not changing stock levels, nothing. The difference is that with integrated brake, you know, some people just prefer the look of the integrated brake because they feel like it's not going to fall off, you know, that type of thing. So some of it's just kind of assurance, aesthetics, you know, the look and the appeal of it. So that's the reason for it. Nothing in developing this brake had in mind eliminating the BRK5.
Well, great. The next question asks, will the Hydrotech wheels have a stainless bearing option?
So they actually will not. They're not as standard. Standard is going to be just the regular bearing that we put in the precision wheels. And the reason is because they don't really need it, because the key with the Hydrotechs is moisture, of course, right? So it would make sense to put stainless steel bearings in. But since we have the thread guards actually are also providing a seal from moisture from getting to the bearings themselves.
Okay.
So they don't actually have to have the stainless bearing to still protect that bearing from moisture. If that was a requirement, it is something we could do, but it would obviously raise the cost of the wheel quite a lot as well. So again, trying to keep the cost in line as well, so our distributors can sell it effectively. We use the standard bearing.
Speaking of new and upcoming products, the next question asks, which sizes will be available for the Nomadics in the 2 series?
So the Nomadics at this point is still only the 6-inch. With demand, I mean, we could do that in other sizes. So if you have, you know, a volume request, you know, I think it's something we could do. We would definitely be happy to look at. But as of right now, 6-inch only is the size for the Nomadics and the Pneumatics.
Great.
We do have the 3x1 though, that's in the Regent series. So there is a version that is lighter weight, you know, that does still look like the Nomadic. So that is available in the Regent today, but it's a 3x1. So certainly could be done in other sizes.
getting information on not only the Colson 2 series.
Now we went to regions. What else we want to talk about?
The next question asks, will it be possible to put a seal around the raceway, or is it already integrated into the dust cap?
Okay,
I think it's a good question.
so if you need a seal on the raceway, then you would have to have the extra piece. So that would require that additional piece to the dust cover. So that would not be standard today. Now, is it something we will look at adding down the road? Maybe. I'm not saying it can't be done, but right now we've not introduced a seal with this new raceway lineup.
And finally, our last question for today's call. The brakes for the rigid forks, will they be the same as the swivel?
Ah, great question. And I'm glad you asked, because actually I was going to cover that and I missed that as one of my points. No, it is not. It can't be. We were hoping to, but the fact is it can't be the same brake because basically because your fork on the swivel caster is offset. So the brake itself also has to be offset. So on the rigid, the brake is centered. So it's an all new kit. We are still going to call it a BRK1 though, just so you know, but it'll be the rigid BRK1. The part numbers, we'll give you those part numbers when they're available, when we have the stock built up. But really, really good question. Appreciate that one.
Well, I think that's all we have time for today. So before we wrap up the call, I just want to thank everybody again for joining and bearing with us during our training today. I know we had some technical difficulties, but we really enjoyed sharing with you all the new exciting news on the integrated total lock, as well as the improvements we've made to the Colson 2 series as a whole. And as Colson Group continues to improve and create mobility solutions for our customers, we really appreciate and love to share these improvements with all of our dedicated partners. So thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.